Okay, as promised, we are continuing our football club history series. We are going to Scandinavia, Norway in particular, and we're going to the city of Bergen. Now, SK Brann are the biggest club in Bergen. Bergen is Norway's second city. It sits on the coast, north of Stavanger and slightly north of Oslo. Right opposite Aberdeen would be the best way to describe where Bergen is geographically. The club is formed in 1908. They play at the Brann Stadion, which has 17,686 capacity. Now, two local men, Christian K. Gran and Birger Geistland, met in a cafe with eight other invitees because they were dissatisfied with the quality and they were dissatisfied with the local clubs in Bergen at the time, and the club was formed out of that meeting. So it's very, very interesting that a lot of these clubs in their early days and how their foundation stories, they're founded by individuals in the locality, be it students or workers, or in this case two local men who were dissatisfied with the quality of football they were watching at the time, and they invited others along. So that's their formation little story. Now, the club itself has not had as much success as you would think. It's based in the second biggest city in Norway, which is Bergen, but the success has been lacking. It took a while for them to win their first league title. It took less time to win their first Norwegian Cup, but their first league title didn't come until the 60s, so the success has been lacking. They've had some interesting European history. They reached a Cup Winners' Cup quarter-final in the 96-97, and they also made the round of 32 in the UEFA Cup in 2007-2008. So they've had a few runs in European competition. I will discuss their UEFA coefficient because I mention the UEFA coefficient quite regularly. But let's have a look at things. So the Eliteserien is the top tier of Norwegian football. They've only won it 3 times. Now, the Norwegian League is now a summer league because the weather. I mean, do you want to play above the Arctic Circle or in Norway when it's freezing cold and snowing? You probably don't want to do that. Now, at times it has been a league that starts at the end of one year, completes in the beginning of another year, like a lot of the other European leagues. But because of their latitude and it gets really cold in Norway, they've now moved to a summer league. But their Eliteserien titles, they've only won 3. The 61-62 season, they win that one. That's their first one. And then the league reverts to a summer league. They won in 1963, and then they had to wait until 2007 to win their final league titles. They've not won the league in a very, very long time, although they are currently second. They finished second last year in the Eliteserien. So there's the possibility they could win some more league titles in the near future. Most of their success has come in the Norwegian Cup. 1923, 1925, then a lengthy gap until 1972, then again in 1976, then in 1982, 2004, and finally, most recently, in 2022. So they have won a fair bit in more recent times, especially in the Norwegian Cup, but even then they still haven't really brought in the silverware you would expect from a team in the second city in a country. As I said, their Euro history, they've reached a Cup quarter-final in the Cup Winners' Cup and the round of 32 in the UEFA Cup. Obviously, Erik Bakker was very famously captain when they had their UEFA Cup run and reached the round of 32 in the 2007-2008 season. Now I want to discuss their UEFA coefficient, and I make reference to this hampering lesser leagues that are not part of the Big Five. This is because the restructuring of the Champions League, what was the UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, dropping the Cup Winners' Cup and basically now bringing in the Europa Conference League. All these group stages, a lot of dead rubbers. Back in the day when the Cup Winners' Cup and even to a certain extent the UEFA Cup, it was straight knockouts. And so a smaller club from a lesser league like SK Brann could go on a run and they could make a final. I use Malmo as an example, making a European Cup final against Nottingham Forest back in the day and nearly winning. So the clubs from what I call the second tier of leagues get hampered with the UEFA coefficient. Now their club rank is 267th overall with a UEFA coefficient ranking of 4.500, so 4.5. They sit in a batch of Norwegian clubs. I looked at the Norwegian clubs around them. It was very, very interesting. Basically half the Eliteserien is blocked together with the UEFA coefficient. And that is a problem, even with the fact that they have won silverware. And silverware recently with Norwegian Cup. because the Cup Winners' Cup doesn't exist anymore, it's actually harder for them to gain European qualification. And now what we've seen with the format revamps by UEFA, in part to make sure that the European Super League doesn't happen, this UEFA coefficient is still going to hurt those clubs from leagues that aren't as visible to the global market. So I'm very, very, how do I put it, critical of how the UEFA coefficient works. I'm not a fan of it. But there we go. There's a brief history of SK Brann. They go back to 1908. But their lack of success is quite striking, and the fact they've been more successful in the Norwegian Cup than the league is quite an interesting one. They look like they enjoy cup competitions, hence why they've had some decent runs in European competitions for a Norwegian side. Obviously the league's a bit more of a grind. They haven't quite figured that out, and they've had a lack of success, considering, as I say, they're from the city of Bergen. It's a very wealthy city in Norway. It's the second biggest city in Norway. Obviously the wealth is built upon the oil and gas industry, but other industries as well, and that can't get over the line in the league is quite noticeable. But there we go. There's a brief history of SK Brann. I'm sure there are people who remember their UEFA Cup run in 2007-2008, or their Cup Winners' Cup quarter-final run in 96-97, who may have interesting memories of SK Brann and watch some of the games on TV. I know I did in 2007-2008, and of course Eric Bakker being their captain in the late 2000s. Obviously Leeds United fans would know all about Eric Bakker. So there we go. There's a brief history. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I will have some more content for you very soon.